Mr. George Rock Party. Mr. George Rock Party. Mr. Rock Party. Mr. George Rock Party. Mr. Rock Party. Mr. George Rock Party.
Name's Roger Boaty. Mr. George Roger Boaty.
Well, of course it is, George, and a very good evening to all of you. And the warmest of welcomes to Monday Night Live with me, Boaty. And I'm going to be coming directly into your eyes and ears over the next, I don't know how long, actually. On one hand, we've got all the time in the world together. On the other hand, I don't feel too great. I don't feel too great. It was cold in that yard. Excuse me. It was cold in that yard today, and oh God, I've got a slight touch of lurgy, I think. But hey ho, we will plough on, won't we? Of course we will. And we've got so much to talk about because I haven't seen you wonderful people since Thursday. I mean, that's like a lifetime ago, isn't it? All sorts of things have happened since then. So, tell me what has happened with you since Thursday. What have you been up to at the weekend? Did you have a good weekend? Did you watch the Tyson Fury fight? Did you watch the F1? Did you watch something on television that I wouldn't know anything about? Because I don't believe in television. Well, I believe that it exists. I just don't believe that it should play a part in my life. But hey ho, that is all just right. Let's just plough on, is it? Because this is all about you, my darlings. This is your time, your special little intermingling time with each other, and I shouldn't interrupt by just rambling on endlessly about Nigella Lawson and grabbing her by the Brecon Beacons at the kitchen sink. Do you know about that? I can't remember if that was in this afternoon's live stream or in the lunch video. Anyway, cracking on. Barry is here, but he's not going to be here for long because he's got a birthday meal with the wife. And is that for your birthday or her birthday, I wonder? But happy birthday to whichever of you it is who is celebrating. And it's a bit chilly in here, actually. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, Barry, and indeed Mrs. Guy from SETI Alpha 5. Good evening, Boaty, and all, says Jimmy Quinn. Good evening to you, Jimmy. Oh, hello, we've got Trace with us. The Greenwood. I've just had a thought. I probably can't, can I? Would any of you like to co-host with me at some point? Because now that the live stream camera is the slightly less elderly iPhone, I can do that joint live streaming. So if any of you would care to co-host, do shout out and we will make that happen. Good evening to you, Trace. Porno music again, says, but it is not porno music. And the the chap who wrote that music would be very offended to hear it described as porn music, I suspect. It was, oh, well, you all know who did it. There's no point in banging on about it. Evening all, says Ashley Stewart. Good evening to you. The lovely, so I've got a bit of a sore throat, you see. That's why I was wondering how long I'm going to be able to bang on. I have got a bit of a sore throat, and it was exacerbated by spending time in a jolly cold yard, and it was cold in that yard today. I mean, the weather, the weather. It's like autumnal is what it's like. Oh, that's the other thing that's changed since I saw you last, hasn't it? The clocks have gone. We're properly into winter time now. The short days, the long nights. Bear with. So that's another thing we need to catch up on, isn't it? And of course, I'm going to need to know what you've been eating. And let's bring back some old features, shall we? Here's one. I'm old enough to remember when, and come up with something that you're old enough to remember that the current generation would look at you askance as if you were talking nonsense if you spoke about it. Sophie's here, the fabulous Sophie. Hello all, hope we're well. I hope you're well, Sophie. Thank you for being here. Richard Myers is with us and says good evening all. Lord Stiff Upper Lip says hello, Boaty. Hello to you. Joe is here, Cars with JC. Good evening, Joe. Pingu's here, Pingu Concord. Honourable Reverence Count Botular, how's thou hanging? Oh yeah, I'm hanging okay, mate. How's you, Pingu? I've been seeing posts from you with cars with new wheels and all sorts. Skick is here, and Skick has got a question. Now, yeah. Monday night, darlings, potential for a longer live stream. If any of you have got any questions that you would like to ask me, anything at all, I guarantee you an honest, full and open answer. There you go. There's an offer you can't refuse. And Skick has got the first question. Is there heating in the caravan? Yes and no, Skick. Yes and no. The caravan does have a heating system and it doesn't appear to work, or we don't know how to make it work. The cooker is connected to a gas bottle that's got a little bit of gas left in it, so we could put the cooker on and get some heat from that. And we've got a little heater that runs on those little canisters of gas things. And we have been using that, but the last one ran out today, so yes and no. Neil is here, aka Ziguminatore. Hello all, hope we're all oh, sorry. I keep forgetting that Neil is Scottish. Hello all, hope we're all well. I'm currently recovering from a very bad stomach bug. Oh, sorry to hear that, Neil. But good things are happening. I'm collecting Project Bruce tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, well, we're all looking forward to your updates. For those who don't know, Neil has bought an MG ZT 1.8 Turbo that he has named after Bruce Forsyth, or Ken Bruce. It's Project Bruce, anyway. And he's going to get it tomorrow, so that's exciting. Oh, Barry got a year older since Thursday. So it is your birthday, Barry. Jolly good. Now we know. And I did see the F1. Right. Pingu says Perez is... Oh, hello. Pingu's getting all alliterative on our asses. Perez is perched precariously, don't you think? Yes, I do, Pingu. I do think he's very precariously perched in two ways. I think that one, his second place in the Drivers' Champion is very much under threat from our Lewis. And I think that his seat next year is very much under threat from Daniel Ricciardo. So, yeah, let's face it. I mean, apologies to those of you who aren't interested in Formula One. Excuse me. Could be a cold coming on. I'll put that in my phone on. What's his name? Perez. Yeah, he's had a pants season, hasn't he? I mean, he's in clearly the fastest car on the grid, and he's had an absolutely pants season, barely in the points in the latter part of the season. Not even getting out of bloody Q1, or certainly not getting into Q3. It's been absolutely rubbish, and quite honestly, he doesn't deserve that seat. I think he's contracted till 2025, isn't he? But you know what Red Bull are like. I wouldn't be remotely surprised if they swapped him with Ricciardo. I think if they had somebody who was a guaranteed better bet available, they'd have swapped him. Well, they haven't needed to swap him this year, have they? But they might need to swap him for next season because they might not be as dominant next season. You never know. You never know. And they might need a second driver who's actually, Verstappen has been so dominant this season that I think I'm right in saying that he won the Drivers' Championship on his own, just with his own points. Next year, they might need another driver who's chucking some points into the pot. And let's face it, on his form this year, Perez isn't that driver. Ricciardo would have been, with the form he's shown since coming back, he would have been probably not a sensible bet, except that he showed stonking form over this weekend. So, he might have the tip of one buttock already in that Red Bull seat. Oh, Barry would like to co-host. Excellent. Right. Okay, mate. Let me know what day you would like to do or what night you'd like to do. Hey, Boaty, says John from Skegness on this cold evening, and hello, chat. And yeah, John is in the cold East Coast, and he is up there closing down his caravan for the season. And you will notice that I pronounce the word caravan with the emphasis on the last syllable. And that is the northern way to pronounce the word caravan. Southerners pronounce it caravan with the emphasis on the verb. But since it's in Skegness, I thought I would pronounce it in the northern way. General Cheeseburger, the Grand Master of Shithousery, is with us and says evening all. And Ashley says, yeah, Danny Rick to replace Sergio Perez ASAP. Skick says, I don't care who wrote it. A joke that went on and on and on and on and on and is now dead in the water, thank Christ. I've got no idea what you're talking about there, Skick. I am old enough, says Barry, to remember when Star Trek was good and on BBC Two. Cheeseburger, I'm going to sit on your head in a minute. I've only seen the original Star Trek and I thought it was fantastic. And yeah, I'm old enough to remember that. God, it was great, wasn't it? Oh, and Star Trek in the firm. We come in peace, shoot to kill. I'm old enough, says Cheeseburger, to remember when Boaty bought his own lunch. Cheeseburger, I've bought lunch for the past 2 months or something, and I bought lunch again today. Lord Stiff Upper Lip says, I'm old enough to remember Victor Meldrew. Oh, God. I've got the box set of that somewhere on DVD. One Foot in the Grave. And, God, have you ever watched that right to the end? God, I never had. And when I bought the box set, God knows how long ago, I don't think I bought it. I think it was a Christmas present from Mrs. Boaty. And if you watch it right to the end of the very last series, what a bloody depressing ending. I mean, spoiler alert, Victor Meldrew gets run over and killed, and Mrs. Meldrew murders the person that ran him over. And it was only an accident. What a weird bloody ending to what was a hilarious series. Oh, and if you want to do this as a feature, we did this, Mustard and I did this when we were going to buy the Golf. What are your best sitcoms of all time? I'm sure there are some that we'd all agree on, like Farty Towels and Father Ted. But what others would you throw in the mix? So go with that if you fancy it. I'm old enough, says Trace, to remember when you had to rewind the music by sticking a pencil in the hole and swiveling it in front of you at speed. Yes, I remember that. What used to a pencil would work, or a Bic biro where it's got a tapered end to it and then the ridges. And then you had to get the pencil edges in between the little bits on the cassette. Do all of you know what I'm talking about? Hold on. Oh, no, I haven't got them down here, have I? There's some in the car, but I was going to show you a cassette tape in case some of you hadn't seen it. I still have cassette players in at least one of my cars, and it works, and I do have cassettes, and I do listen to them. Oh, Neil, good shout. Boaty, don't forget to renew your AA membership. Yeah, I need to do that, don't I, tomorrow or the next day? Good shout on that one. I'm old enough to remember when white-shelled eggs weren't an unusual thing, and people didn't complain about them. I didn't know that they were an unusual thing, and I didn't know that people complained about them. Why would you complain about a white-shelled egg? Pinger's got a question for me. Would you prefer to be a successful rally driver or circuit driver? Circuit driver. Rally driving has never appealed to me. I mean, it looks frankly terrifying. But rally driving is alone and against the clock. And I would prefer the competitiveness of mass start racing around a circuit. Because I like that element of competition. Right. Food update from Soph. Neil cooked his curry and we had rice and naan bread for tea. And he's just paid for 2 mg teddies for me. Oh, right. Jolly good. Cheeseburger says, get yourself a 20 quid electric heater and run an extension lead from the workshop. Not suitable where the caravan is now, but when the caravan goes where it's going to go, then it will have the permanent electric hookup. And that means that, we can put an electric heater in there. We can have a microwave in there. We can have all sorts of wonderful things in there. And we're quite excited about that, actually. Trace says, I'm old enough to remember when sausage meat, hang on, somebody just sent me a picture. Let's have a look at that. Oh, brilliant. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, mate. Brilliant. You're a legend. Good man. I'm old enough to remember, says Trace, when sausage meat was safe to suck raw from their skins. Again, I didn't know that it was no longer safe. My second fiance, I think she was number 2, Sasha, she used to do that. And I thought it was weird then, but she assured me it was safe, and I didn't realise it was no longer safe. Neil says, I cooked the curry and oh dear, he cooked the curry and Sophie ate it. He still can't eat anything other than dry toast because Neil has had a poorly tum-tum. Oh dear me. Have you been eating through the ivor needle, Neil? Get some gravy granules and just swallow them, and that'll thicken it up, mate. Thicken it up a treat. Tracy's on a roll. I'm old enough to remember when TV soaps were broadcast just once a week and didn't get so big for their boots that they had to be dominating the schedules every single night and a weekend omnibus. Right. Well, that's an interesting one to go with, isn't it? I'm pretty sure that I'm older than Tracy, and yet I can't remember when a TV soap was just once a week. I mean, when I was a kid, what were the soaps? Well, you had Coronation Street twice a week, EastEnders twice a week, Take the High Road. Who remembers that? I seem to recall that was on every day. Emmerdale Farm, when it was still called Emmerdale Farm, I think that was twice a week. Neighbours was on every bloody day. Neighbours used to be on twice a day. The same episode used to be on the same channel twice a day. Used to be on early afternoon and then again early evening or late afternoon or something. Imagine that. And that was every bloody day. God. Okay, there's a discussion. let's have an original Neighbours off. Name characters from the original thing of Neighbours. So who was it? Harold, Jelly Belly, Plain Jane, Super Brain. You go with the rest. What other TV soaps were there? Oh, Crossroads. I'm sure that was more than once a week. I cannot remember a TV soap that was only on once a week. So can any of you remember a TV soap that was only on once a week? Pingu says, if you had to take part in a cycle race next spring, Jesus Christ, would you choose a long distance road race or an indoor individual pursuit type race? Simple Pingu, I'd go for an individual pursuit because I could get myself into shape for one of those a lot easier than I could get myself into shape for a long distance road race. And generally speaking, back in the day, I was probably a better pursuiter than I was a roadman. It would depend on the race. I was a good pursuiter. I was, oh God, it's going to sound awful saying world class. I was international class junior pursuiter. I could ride a very good pursuit. Obviously, at the age that I was, I would have been riding a 3K pursuit, and then as an amateur, a 4K. Had I ridden pursuit as a mature pro, it would have been 5K, and I would love to know what I would have done over 5K. But you got to bear in mind that you're talking a totally different technology than they ride on now. But yeah, I would go for the pursuit every time. I mean, I could ride a pursuit tomorrow. It would just be quite a slow one. Whereas a long distance road race, I would die within about the first 22 miles. You need, if you're doing like 150-mile road race, you need an incredible level of fitness for that. And you know what's just been on, don't you? Or is just about to be on. It's the right time of year. Paris Parade. Try that. 784 miles or whatever it was. I can't remember. I just remember it was a whole world of pain. Skick was on about the Roger Boaty joke. I love the Roger Boaty joke. Oh, now we're going with sitcoms. Only Fools and Horses from Barry, and see, this is where I'm going to be controversial. That is usually voted as the number one of all time. It wouldn't be in my top 100. Controversial. I didn't like it. I didn't find it funny. I didn't like it, and Mustard didn't like it either. Excuse me. Got the blood hiccups now. My body's falling apart as it usually does during life. Neither of us had it in our top whatevers. Neither of us rated it or enjoyed it. So it certainly wouldn't be in mine, but I know that that makes me very unusual. Yes, Minister, goes on to say Barry. And then yes, Prime Minister afterwards. Now you've said that, I would struggle not to put that as number one because I think that was genius. It was written by two gentlemen called Anthony Lynn and Christ, what was the other one? Oh dear. Oh, I can't remember the other guy. One of you guys will know. Somebody and Anthony Lynn. Can't remember. And if any of you have seen a wonderful film by Jack Rosenthal called The Knowledge, then Anthony Lynn acted in that, and he played Ted Margolis, the genius who did the knowledge in whatever it was in 1 Year Flat. And the other connection with Yes Minister to the knowledge, Jack Rosenthal's film, is that Nigel Hawthorne, who of course memorably played Sir Humphrey Appleby, he also starred in The Knowledge. He was have any of you seen The Knowledge? If you've not seen it, do yourself a favour and watch it. It is hilarious. I mean, it's a bit dated now, but it's worth watching just for Nigel Hawthorne alone. Jeff somebody, who was it? And Anthony Lynn. And I can't remember the other guy. How annoying. But Yes Minister is just sheer genius. If you know the background to it, then every plot line that featured in Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister were things that genuinely happened in the government of the time and were leaked directly to the two gentlemen in question, or one of the two gentlemen in question. Can't remember the exact details, but yeah, it all came kind of direct from the horse's mouth. And that was why all the politicians of the time, including Mrs. Thatcher, it was her favourite, they absolutely loved it because they recognised everything as being 100% accurate to how things were done. So yeah, I would be very happy with Yes Minister being the #1 sitcom of all time because it was genius. And it's really annoying me that I can't remember the other writer. No, and the more I tried to think about it, the more I went think of it. Best sitcom, says Cheeseburger, Soap. Who remembers Soap? Confused, you will be after this episode of Soap or whatever it was. And I don't remember much about it. I remember it was an American thing, and from memory, it was kind of a caricature or piss take of soaps, hence the title Soap. And I do remember it as being quite funny, actually. Lord Stiff Upper Lip suggests Keeping Up Appearances. That was a good one. That deserves to be up there. That does deserve to be up there. Keeping Up Appearances was really very enjoyable. Patricia Routledge, of course, playing Hyacinth Bucket. The wonderful Geoffrey Hughes playing Onslow. It was good. Can't remember who played Richard. And of course, featuring a Rover 213, an SD3. Mark Passad says, probably showing I've just turned 60, but what is your favourite Carry On film? Oh, this is a brilliant one to run with. Go with this, everybody. What is your favourite Carry On film? And Mark says, Carry On Up the Khyber. Right, that would be one of mine, to be honest, because it was filmed in Snowdonia. I love some of the names. I mean, Bernard Bresslaw playing Bunged It In. I mean, a character called Bunged It In. There was a lot to really enjoy in Carry On Up the Khyber. So that would be up there as one of mine. I suppose the classic is Carry On Camping, but that wouldn't be in my top 3. I enjoyed Carry On Henry. That was one of my favourites. Because there were some bits in there that are really memorable. That bit where Kenneth Williams is reading out the, the reasons for the divorce or execution. Between the party of the first part and the party of the second part. I thought that was great. And when they were trying to describe whatever her name was, the Queen of France, I think she was played by Joan Sims. And are they? Oh, the roundest in all France, sire. And the pertest in all of France, sire. And has she been chased? Oh, all over France, sire. But I'm sure never caught. And what was it? Oh, and the wonderful Teddy Scott. To issue, all fall down. So yeah, that would be up there. Carry On Henry. Carry On the Khyber, definitely. Which other ones? God, I'm trying to remember all of the carry-ons now. Oh dear. But go with yours. Refresh my memory. What's your favourite carry-on film? I'm old enough to remember when dog crap was white sausage cheeseburger. I did know why that stopped being a thing, but I've forgotten. Trace says people prefer brown eggs apparently because they look more rustic. Oh. In the 70s, it was mostly white eggs. Yeah, it was now you think about it. People moan now about the white eggs. The only difference is the feathers colour. Ah, right. I mean, I like a blue egg. I like those nice, expensive blue eggs that you. Sorry, guys. I'll just die live on camera, shall I? Has it been confirmed that the caravan is staying, says Joe? Yes, it has, Joe. Yes, it has. I'm old enough to remember, says Pingu, when Captain Mustard used to wear outdoor clothing to work instead of pyjamas. He started wearing outdoor clothing now because it's getting bloody cold in that yard. Bloody cold. It was freezing today. Even Mustard said it was cold, and he normally whines at me for being too prone to the cold, but we just hid in the caravan most of today. We had to get outside because somebody brought a car for us to potentially buy, and we will potentially buy it. And we went out to get lunch, and other than that, we hid in the caravan all day, did nothing of any value. Well, we did. We did things of value, but they were things of value done inside rather than outside. It's horrible out there. Of course, I'm not there next week, darlings. First Monday of the month, isn't it? I'm going to be off on a jolly somewhere. And I haven't fully decided where yet. So any suggestions of where I should go on a jolly for an overnight stay next Monday, do throw them at me. I still eat raw sausages, says Neil. Trick from my granddad. And then he says, no wonder I'm ill. Well, yeah. Skick says it looks very cosy, the caravan. And you and Mustard are really gelling together and have become good friends. You must be very pleased for such a good friendship. Yeah, absolutely. I really am, Skick. Neil says I never got into Neighbours. Well, I'm sure the neighbours were very grateful for that, Neil. I'm old enough to remember when Britt Eklund was good looking, says Cheeseburger. Oh, she certainly was. Diddly-doo. Cheeseburger wouldn't mind getting into Kylie. Well, join the queue there. TV soap once a week, says Cheeseburger. The Bill when it was first broadcast. Ah, interesting. Okay, I can't remember, so I'll take your word for that. Pingu says Mrs. Mangle and Bouncer. And if you're wondering, Bouncer was not the name of one of Mrs. Mangle's boobs. No, Mrs. Mangle was Joe Mangle's mother. Mangle's just a funny word now you think about it, isn't it? And Bouncer was a dog, a Labrador, I think, if memory serves. Barry Sheen did an episode of Neighbours, says Jimmy Quinn. Bloody hell, I never knew that. Pingu says Henry Ramsey. Oh, right. Hey, Mona, etc. Yeah, right. Yeah. Henry Ramsey. Who was the Craig McLachlan? And the Hey Mona thing, that was Craig McLachlan and Check 1 2, wasn't it? I think. I love EastEnders, says Sophie. It's really good, and I do need to catch up. Oh, God. I haven't seen EastEnders for a while. I mean, is Bill Fowler still in prison? What's Pauline up to? And is Bette Lynch still in the Queen Vic? Oh no, it wasn't, was it? It was Dirty Den and Ange. Oh, and Pat Butcher. Oh, and Frank. Is Frank Butcher still in it? Oh no, I haven't, Trace. Thank you. Have you chilled your wine? Thank you, Trace. Oh, I have got a bloody cold coming on, haven't I? Oh dear. I expect it'll be man flu. Good night, sweetheart was amazing, says Neil. We recently watched that and were obsessed with it. I think I saw that was the one where he could go back in time so he could cheat on his wife or something like that. I got called. Sophie says, this isn't very nice. I get called Olive from Off the Buses by Neil. I apparently look like her. Well, Soph, Olive off the buses. Okay, as a character, she wasn't very flattering, but the actress that played her was a glamour model. So take that as a compliment. Oh God, was it Holiday on the buses when she fell in the swimming pool and her pants fell down? Yes, you can, Neil. You can confirm that. I like that pinging me to get yourself out of the shit there. Right. Mark knows what I'm talking about. Nigel Hawthorne playing the taxi examiner in The Knowledge was a brilliant role. It was absolutely fantastic. Do watch it if you haven't. He was known as the vampire. For those who don't know, The Knowledge is the test that a London taxi driver has to test. I don't know how things work now in the current days of sat-nav and whatnot, but back in the day, they had to do something called The Knowledge. And what that meant is they had to learn by heart every street and every building on every street within a set radius of the centre of London. And they used to have to go around on mopeds and learn them all. And then they would be called in for an appointment every whatever it was, every so many months to begin with. And then as you became better and better, then the appointments became closer and closer together until you eventually passed, if you passed, because there was a massive attrition rate. And then when you passed The Knowledge, you did a driving test, which was a piece of pudding. And then you got your green badge and became a London cabbie. And Nigel Hawthorne played this character who did everything that he could to put off the prospective taxi drivers when they were in there for their appointments, which were like examinations. So basically, the examiner would give them a beginning and an end destination, and they would then have to give the exact route, street by street. So first of all, they would say that, right, I'm at the London Fire Brigade headquarters, and I want to go to the Watney Hotel. So first of all, they'd have to know where those two places were, and then they'd have to recite the route from memory off the top of their heads, and get it right. And Nigel Hawthorne's character just used to do everything he could to put them off. He'd shove things up his nose so he sounded nasal. He'd pretend to be deaf. He'd pretend to be American. He'd jump up and down in front of them doing it. Oh, God. Honestly, just watch it. You won't regret it. Oh, dear. Now, my father did The Knowledge of Birmingham when he became a Hackney carriage driver, and I helped him learn that. And I've still got a load of the routes lodged up here. A load of them I'll have forgotten, but I can still, and I bet you I can remember it. God knows how many years it is since I've done it, but I bet I could still get from Maypole Island to, say Edgbaston, totally avoiding King's Heath and all of that traffic jam. I know, God, I used to know all the rat runs around there. God, funny how things stick with you. I should go for a drive in Birmingham one day and film it. just go over all my old routes and see what I can remember and what I can't. Carry On Camping is one of Neil's favourites. Carry On Cabby, says Barry Scrotter. Oh, hello, cheeseburgers, foxes were right for supper. I love Frank Spencer, says Lord Stiff Upper Lip. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. There's a suggestion for best sitcoms of all time. Some mothers do have them. With Michael Crawford and Michelle Daltrece. I think, again, I wasn't a huge fan. It was a little bit too silly for me. And apparently he used to do all of his own stunts. Barry's got to head out to Tarfa now. So happy birthday, Barry, from all of us. And have a great celebration with your good lady. Oh, God, he's dying live on stream again, says Trace. Trace says, oh, my God. Oh, my God. I watched one of yours on Mustard's videos the other day, and he was wearing jeans. He won't be losing his keys for a while now. Well, he is wearing jeans. He was wearing jeans today, Trace, and he did lose his keys. So the jeans aren't helping. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I don't know how he does it. Oh, cheeseburger. Yeah. Does he think he's Matthew Perry? Yeah, I put something very questionable on Facebook yesterday or the day before, whenever his sad passing was announced. I couldn't resist it. What was the Carry On film with Caesar and Cleopatra? Oh, Carry On Cleo, I think that one was. Oh, all of those EastEnders characters have gone now, apparently. Trace says Frank Butcher is no more, both on screen and in real life. Don't worry, so says Trace. People used to call me Olive as well. Oh, Just Good Friends was a good comedy. Yeah, it was. That's from Jimmy Quinn, and it was. Now, that was with... oh, God, I can't... Paul Nicholas, wasn't it? Paul Nicholas and can't remember her name, Jan something. Might be wrong on that, but it was definitely Paul Nicholas. All right, Tweakle. Pat. One of the YouTube channels, says Cheeseburger, has started showing Cuckoo's Waltz with Diane Keane. Very nice to look at. Also showing A Fine Romance with Judi Dench, a fine, versatile actress. A fine romance with no kissing. That brings back memories. Wasn't that Judi Dench and wasn't it Jeffrey Palmer? This is a fine romance. God, I remember that. Blimey. Skick says Bionic Man was great and the old Incredible Hulk, but they weren't exactly sitcoms, were they? God, the Bionic Man was Lee Majors, wasn't it? On that American thing, and the old Incredible Hulk, that was I can't remember who played David Banner. No, I can't remember, but of course the Incredible Hulk was played by Lou Ferrigno or Lou Ferrigno, however that is pronounced, and of course there was quite a well-known documentary at the time, and I think it was called Pumping Iron, and that covered the intense competition in the Mr. Universe title, and that was always, from memory, always played out between Lou Ferrigno, who played the Incredible Hulk, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, who went on to become Donald Trump, of course, and Schwarzenegger always beat him. Poor old Lou Ferrigno never won once, but apparently he was a jolly nice chap, was Lou Ferrigno. I've heard that from a few sources. Neil says the worst place to drive in the world, around the Maypole Island, for that reason, traffic. Cheeseburger says you couldn't get from Maypole to Edgbaston these days, 20 miles an hour, and many roads blocked off. All the rap runs in the Jewellery Court have concrete blocks across them. Oh, but there used to be a way round from There used to be a way round from the Maypole, or from just on from the Maypole. I used to be able to avoid King's Heath, no problem at all. And that brought you out through the park, and it brought you out just on the outskirts of Edgbaston. I bet I could remember it, but maybe from what Cheeseburger is saying, maybe it's not there anymore. Maybe those streets, but they were all residential streets, so I suppose they could have been made cul-de-sacs. A Fine Romance. God, how many years is it since I saw that? At least the jeans might keep Mustard's wedge wodge under control. Yes, there is that. George Knight and his family are in the pub in EastEnders. Who the bloody hell is George Knight? And what happened to Dirty Dan and Ange? Jan Francis. Well done, Cheeseburger. That's quite right. Well done. Mike Prasad says, oh, I love this as well. I love Brushstrokes. Brushstrokes was Carl Howarth. And wasn't the theme tune to Brushstrokes by Dex's Midnight Runners? Oh, I'm going to throw one in. Who remembers this? Hang on. Who remembers this one? On the Up. On the Up. Right. Quiz question for you. Okay. And you can Google if you want to, if you need to. But we'll see who gets the right answer first. What is the connection between these two sitcoms? On the Up and Red Dwarf. There is a connection between those two, and I will be very impressed if anybody can give me the connection without Googling it. So feel free to have a guess, have as many guesses as you like, and I will give a lot of kudos to the first person to come up with the correct answer to that. I used to write the questions for the Ultimate Pub Quiz. I've still got all the questions somewhere. I might put them in the Facebook group for a laugh. I've got hundreds of them, and they're cryptic questions. They're really quite difficult. And this was part of one question, but I've made it a bit easier. What is that? Find the connection between the sitcoms On the Up and Red Dwarf. Go for it. Judi Dench, with Michael Williams, who was her husband. That's right. It wasn't Jeffrey Parker at all. It was Michael Williams. Who had a very lived-in face and a nice medium-length hair. I remember him. He looked like the sort of chap who would own an allotment. I just remember the theme tune. Isn't it funny how you remember the theme tune to these things? They stick in your head. Bruce Banner. Thank you, Neil. Thank you, Neil. Happy Days, says Jimmy. Another good one. I never liked Happy Days. Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. The weekend comes, my cycle hums, ready to ride to you. These days are as happy and free. Yeah, I was never into that. I didn't think Arthur Fonzarelli was particularly cool. The only good thing in it for me was Susie Quattro wearing leather. Soph says, if you had to be an animal, what would you be and why? Oh, and Cheeseburger says I'd be a rabbit. What a good question. What would I be? I really don't know. I mean, I'd want to be something with a degree of intelligence, I think. Maybe an octopus. That'd be quite an interesting life, wouldn't it? And they're supposed to be intelligent and sentient to some degree. Rabbit. Trace says, if I had to be an animal, it would definitely be a cat. Video title, Oh yeah, thank you. We need video titles, don't we? Video title: Boaty and Mustard, a fine romance. Oh, I quite like that. Especially as my name comes first for a change. It's normally Mustard and Boaty. General Cheeseburger says, Danny Jules Jr. No, that is not the connection. You are looking for a connection between On the Up and Red Dwarf. And there is one. There is a very definite connection. There is one person who connects those two things. There you go. That's a clue for you. Oh, Because of You by the Dexys for Brushstrokes. That's right. Because of you, these things I do. That's right. Land of the Giants and Lost in Space, says Rob. Trace says, my vid title suggestion was missed. Is it not displaying? Oh, I might have just missed it. Oh, there was a retracted message, Trace. Did you retract it? Give it to me again. Here we are. Title: No white eggs or dog poop. It's racist, I tell you. And thank you, Cheesy. Right, we'll screenshot that. With your reputation, says Cheeseburger, an octopus would be apt. What are you trying to say? You trying to say I'm a groper? Have I got a reputation? I'd quite like to have a reputation. That would be cool. I mean, it wouldn't be a positive one, but... Holly, the computer guy, says Pingu. No, that is not the connection that I'm thinking of. A connection between On the Up and Red Dwarf. Oh, Bread, says Rob. Bread, yeah, Bread. Written by Carla Lane, originally featuring Peter Howlett as Joey. Can I remember any of the others? Jilly something. No, can't remember any of the others. Can I remember the characters? There were Joey, Jack, Adrian, what was the name? The bird. I can't remember. Then there was the dad, wasn't there? Who was kind of an estranged dad. Bread was pretty good, to be fair. Anything written by Carla Lane was good. I loved Butterflies. I absolutely loved Butterflies. Love is like a butterfly, as rare and gentle as a pie. The multicolored moods of love are like its pastry lid. Butterflies, wonderful. Wendy Craig, Jeffrey Palmer. Oh, and one of the sons was, what's his name? Nicholas Lyndhurst, wasn't he? Yeah. Oh, Pingu. Do I like Minder? I love Minder. I love Minder. One of the best things ever to be on television in my book. I modelled myself on Arthur Daly. If we had a Minder off, a competition on Minder, I would kick all of your little botties. God, it's almost wine time. I'm looking forward to that. That'll help my throat. Now, I've just remembered to stop drinking the Vimto. Yeah, I absolutely love them. Lilo Lil, of course, Rob. Lilo Lil. Yeah, oh yeah, that was the dad's bit of stuff, wasn't it? The one that he left. Was it Nellie? Was the mother called Nellie? Yeah, she is a tart. I remember that. Aveline, that's right, Cheeseburger. Well done. Bread was great until it became too political. Jean Boat, that's right. Jean Boat played the mother. And Aveline was Jilly Coleman, correct. Butterflies was good, says Cheeseburger. Sounds Vintage says, was Sam Kelly in Red Dwarf? I don't know, but not the connection that I'm looking for. Do you want a clue? Let me know if you need a clue or if you want to keep guessing. All right, Tel, sort him out. I loved Minder. I absolutely loved Minder. Again, I've got all of the box sets on DVD. I just haven't got a DVD player or a telebox these days, but I've still got the box set somewhere. They're upstairs in the box room somewhere or other. I still occasionally watch Minders on YouTube. You know, they're something that I could watch again and again. Do you know Derek Jacobi was in an episode of Minder? He played an absolute bastard and he was really good. I would love to be a rabbit, says Sophie, because I'm loving inside and wild on the outside. That's one reason. Minder was great until Waterman decided he didn't want to fight everyone every week. Yeah. Oh, I do, Mark. I do, Mark. Does anyone else remember Never the Twain? I do. With Windsor Davis and Donald Sinden. I remember it very well indeed. That was brilliant. I liked Never the Twain. And it's a really good title. Yeah, they were both antique dealers, weren't they? Oh, right. A suggestion from Pingu. Soswap. Soap opera stars worth a pottering. Oh, okay, well, Soswap. That's going to be easy. Soswap. Okay. Soap opera stars. Well, God, I mean, I'm not up to date with any soap opera stars, so I'm going to have to go back a bit. Now, a lot of you will say Kylie. I would now, but I wouldn't have back then. She didn't float my boat. Not at all. Soap opera stars. God, let's think. Oh. Lisette Anthony, she must have been in a soap. I'm sure she was in a soap. And she was definitely worth a pottering. She was in Our Feeder's Own Pet. That doesn't really count as a soap opera, does it? God, I can't think of any now. Let's go through the soaps. Was there anyone in Coronation Street? No, not really. Anyone in EastEnders? No, not so much. Emmerdale? No. I can't think of a soap opera star worth a pottering. I'm sure you lot can, then. The Equalizer, Edward Woodward. I liked The Equalizer. I used to stay up late and watch The Equalizer with my dad because, of course, it had Callan in it. It was just a slightly older Callan, and he was in America. And he drove a Jaguar. I don't know what, I can't remember what they were called in the States. But he drove, I think it was an XJ12, wasn't it? It was an XJ6 or an XJ12. And it had white wool tyres on it. So it was kind of British, but with a little hint of American with the white wool tyres. But yeah, I mean, The Equalizer was great. I mean, just Callan in America. Brilliant. What's not to love about that? Frank Butcher would be my Soswap, says Trace. Oh, and Rob would go for Dot Cotton. Okay. Danny Dyer, Soswap for Trace. A young Tracy Shaw or Helen Flanagan. Helen Flanagan, yeah, I'd have a go on her. I would very happily have a go on her, I think, if it's the one I'm thinking of. Jill Halfpenny. Cheeseburger says, Lisette. Barbara Cartland said she could play the ultimate virgin. Anna Thingy from Brookside. There was a lesbian in it. Anna Friel. Yes, definitely. 100%. Emma Dale says Cheeseburger, Kim Tate and a Jodhpurs. Yeah, actually. Yeah. I remember her now. Kane Dingle from Emmerdale, says Trace. And then don't judge me. Rita Sullivan, Corey Soswap. Oh, sorry. Rita Sullivan from Corrie Soswap. Rita Sullivan? Really? Oh, well, each to their own. Yes, indeed. She enjoyed dining at the Y. Do you want a clue for the connection between On the Up and The other one, Red Dwarf. Oh, it's wine time. And I'm a good boy. I've caught up with your comments. Oh, God, they're off on lesbian talk now, aren't they? Look at this. I left wine last night. I must be ill. When do I ever leave wine? Came downstairs to it this morning, put it in the fridge. Thought, I'm not wasting it. Oh, I've got an update on this as well. If anybody's interested. If anybody watched the Daily Diary where I had a rant about my windscreen mount. Yes, please, says Soph. Oh, is that a... Oh, right, clue time. You want a clue. Okay. Trace says, I love Red Dwarf and I can't think what the connection is. And I will need a clue. Oh, Pingu says, Tam's in our troll. Yeah. I can't remember what she was in, but I seem to recall that, yeah, okay. Not a problem. Clue time, says Mark. Okay, right, clue. So we're looking for a connection between On the Up and Red Dwarf. Okay. The connection is somebody who appeared in every episode of On the Up. I believe they appeared in every episode of On the Up. And they also appeared in every episode of Red Dwarf, except in Red Dwarf, you never saw them, you only heard them. So every episode of On the Up, you saw and heard them. Every episode of Red Dwarf, you only heard them. You didn't see them. How's that for a clue? Windscreen mount rants. I saw it and already knew what the problem was. Too many eBay sellers using Amazon. Upselling to make more pounds. Yeah, well, I've got an update on it, Joe. Oh, somebody's got it. Trace has got it. Well done, Trace. Do you want to expand on that a little bit? Just expand, just fill out the answer so you've got the whole thing. Cheeseburger says, West Brom won tonight. Oh, well done, you. They are sponsored by Barber Boss. Their advert says the clippers can be used by men, women, and pets. I'm not using them after they've been around the dog's gonads and Mrs. C's. Oh, dear. Pepsi Big Mac. What? What's that about, Pinger? Norman Love It, says Jimmy Quinn. No, not the connection. Dan's got an interesting one. Hello, Mr. Boaty, sir. If you had 3,000 of the King's UK pounds, what car would you buy and why? The car that I've got my heart set on now, I taught myself out of obsessing over a Discovery. I have now decided the car that I have to own, and I will make this happen, even if I have to sell all of mine, I want an L322 Range Rover in Vogue or Vogue SE spec, in silver, obviously, and I want the 4.4 V8. And I'd get one of those for £3,000, so that is exactly what I would buy, Dan. Take a bit of tracking down, but that's what I would buy with £3,000. I would buy an L322 Range Rover. Hello, everyone, says Simone. Oh, and hello, ostriches, says Mustard. I don't know her name, says Trace. I want to lie shipwreck and comatose. You just, I mean, you've got it, Trace, but you just need to fill it out a bit more. That's what she did in. That's what she did in Red Dwarf. What did she do in On the Up? Just you're right. Just expand the answer a bit. Oh, right, the update on the thing. Right. So for those who don't know, you know that I use a particular brand of windscreen mount, particular brand, a particular model. Now, you also know, or you might know, that I want to have one of these in each car. So when I had a couple of bob spare, I went onto Amazon to order one. I thought when they're on offer, sometimes they're on offer on Amazon. They're only like £8 or £9. That's when I bought. I've got two, or I had two, and I thought, I'll keep looking on Amazon when they're on offer, and I've got a tenner spare. I'll buy another one until I've got one in each car. Went onto Amazon to look, and discontinued. Don't know if or when they're coming back into stock. So I thought, bugger. So I went onto eBay to have a look, and there was a guy selling. There was a guy selling 4 of them. The boxes had been opened, but they've never actually been used. And I bought the 3 that he shipped together and combined the postage for me. Absolutely perfect, exactly what I wanted. So 2 of those are now in cars. And the other one I gave to Mustard to replace his awful one. And he's not used it yet, but no doubt he will. Went back onto eBay a couple of days ago. The guy that I bought the 3 from, his 4th one was coming to an end. So I bought that. And that actually arrived today when I was at the yard. So, well, actually, I can show you the 2, can't I? So, bear in mind, I bought both of these off eBay. Now, that is what I use, the Bikel car phone holder. I think Trace has got one as well on my recommendation. In the box, opened, never used, really good eBay seller. I know what I'm going to find here. It's going to be exactly the right thing. Yeah, there it is. All there. Never used. Excellent, blah, blah, blah. Very happy. Now, this is the other one that I bought that was brand new. And it was advertised as one of those. Brand name, photographs, everything. Now, bought from eBay. When it came, it was delivered by Amazon. And not the same thing. And look, bracket, BRAKCET. Not the same thing. Not the same thing at all. So, what you've got here is, I decided that, right, we've got somebody, and this happens quite a lot, and I've been caught by this before. I bought something off eBay. It was delivered by Amazon. I looked on Amazon, and sure enough, it was cheaper on Amazon. So you've got people advertising things on eBay, and if you buy it from them, they just buy it on Amazon and have it shipped directly to you, and they pocket the difference. I haven't got a problem with that. As far as I'm concerned, that is a perfectly good business model. That is a tax on the customer for not checking out other buying platforms. I haven't got a problem with that at all. Literally no problem. However, advertising one item and drop shipping an alternative item, not acceptable, not even legal. So I had a rant about this on a daily diary because, I've been sent something that so anyway, so I messaged the seller. I did it. I'm so sorry. I did a, do you know who I am kind of thing. And I messaged the seller and said, oh, I checked their feedback. And there was feedback along the lines of, got sent the thing, it's not the thing that was advertised, but it's okay, so it doesn't matter, that kind of thing. So it's not just a one-off, it's not just with me. So I messaged them and I said, oh, come on, really? I said, so you're advertising something on eBay and then you're drop shipping a cheaper, presumably inferior item from Amazon. I said, it's not on, is it really? I wanted to just reach out and get a response from you before I talk about this on my incredibly large YouTube channel and social media network. And then I actually said, God forgive me. Oh, what a pretentious twat I am. I like to use my platform to highlight issues like this. What a pretentious twat. But, you know, sometimes you do these things. And I got very quickly quite a lengthy reply saying, we got in all sorts of trouble with Royal Mail during the postage strikes, so we use Amazon for our postage, blah, blah. Yeah, and I thought, no, you don't. No, you don't. You're just drop shipping via Amazon. You're not using them. You're not using them to deliver your product. You're drop shipping via Amazon. Blah, 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 blah. And then there was, I can see from the photographs that you've sent that this is very clearly not the same item. I do apologize for that. No idea how this happened, really. Okay. And then, you know, the inevitable, I will contact our accounts department, and I'm pretty certain, judging from the feedback and the size of the business, that this is one lady working from home. I will contact our accounts department to process a refund for you. In other words, she will go onto Amazon. Honestly. And please don't, there is no need to send back the item. Please keep it and do whatever with it. So, and sure enough, their accounts department refunded the price. I keep this, so this is now free. I've got no idea if it's any good or not. Doesn't seem too bad. I will try it and find out. So that is the update on that. Basically, I did my "do you know who I am" thing, and they've refunded me, so I've got this for free. As I say, don't know if it's any good or not, but I'm pretty sure I know what happened. They've been advertising this car phone holder, the proper one, the one that I know. Oh, hang on, it's over there. The one that I know and like. They've been advertising it on eBay at, I think it's $13.99. And the two that I've bought on Amazon, they've been £8 something. So basically, they've been selling them on eBay for 14 quid, buying them on Amazon for 8 quid, and getting them delivered to the customer. Except that suddenly Amazon haven't got any, have they? And maybe they haven't realized, and they're still advertising them on eBay, but or maybe they do realize and they couldn't be bothered to change the listing, and it's something else that's being sent from Amazon. So, you know, it's a bit, at best, it's lazy. I've not got a problem with that. I've not got a problem with that method of business. You know, if you can sell on one platform and just have the orders shipped from another platform, then that's just people being daft. It's taken advantage. It's not the best business practice, but I wouldn't have a problem with it if it's the same item. But this clearly wasn't. So I played my face and I got my refund, and I get to keep that. Whether it's any good or not, I simply don't know. One thing I do immediately prefer, actually, it feels reasonably solid, to be fair. Wouldn't it be ironic if this turned out to be better than the one that I've been using? I mean, it's very, very similar design. Does feel quite solid. The one thing that I prefer is that bit there, it's got a gap there. And on the ones that I use, that has got a bar there, if that makes any sense. So you have to, when you put your power lead, it has to go through. And with this, you don't have to feed it through. You can just, because it's open, can you see? So we'll try this and we'll see if it's any good. But it is now free. So there's your update with that. Also, any update on Stigbert with his MOT or fixes? There is an update on Stigbert, and it's not a good one. Stigbert has just got a little bit more difficult, darlings, because with the shenanigans at the yard, and the landlord and losing space and whatnot, you all know about that, Mustard's yard. Cars that have been stored there long term have got to be moved. One of the cars that's got to be moved is Liz's monogram MGZT. And Liz had very kindly lent me her wheels with good tyres on for Stigbert. But now that car's got to be moved. It is being moved at the end of November. And quite naturally, Liz wants her wheels back on it. And because of the problems with the guy who supplied faulty, broken parts for me, means that Stigbert still isn't MOT'd, and now it's got more difficult again because I've lost the wheels. So that is a little bit of a spoke in the wheel there. And also the fact that I've got to get the wheels off Stigbert means that I've got to get Stigbert to the yard in order to get the wheels off Stigbert and onto back onto Liz's car, back onto Spooky. So that means I'm going to have to get cracking now and at least get Stigbert into a state where I can get him to the yard. I can drive him to the yard if I book him in for MOT at the garage next door, then I can drive it there legally, because obviously he's taxed and insured. But there's no real point driving him there when I know that he's going to fail. So now, in the next couple of weeks, I've got to sort out wheels, tyres, windscreen, and, you know, as a bare minimum, and ideally the ABS thing as well. So, yeah, that's become a bit of a, but, you know, I mean, the positive is that at least I'm being forced into shifting my ass and getting something sorted. So somehow or other, I need to get that sorted over the next couple of weeks. It's got to happen now in short order. I have no choice. I can't procrastinate or put off. So I'm going to have to do whatever I need to do to get the money together to at least get Stigbert to the yard and get the wheels swapped over. And of course, ideally, get him MOT'd and back on the road. So there we are. That is the update with Stigbert. Not an entirely positive one, but there we are. I Googled her, says Trace, and I didn't realise she was a singer. I can't remember what she was in On the Up, but I know her as an actress. I can't remember her name, but yeah, the connection between On the Up and Red Dwarf is there was a Scottish lady who played the secretary and potential love interest in On the Up. Can't remember her name or the character's name, but she was Dennis Waterman's secretary or PA or whatever she was. And she sang the theme tune to Red Dwarf. So there you go. That was the connection. And if you like competitions like that or quizzes like that with cryptic clues, let me know and I'll dig out my old stash of however many questions. I think there's about 200 questions from my old ultimate pub quiz that I designed to be the the hardest pub quiz in the world, but you are allowed to Google with it. I bought my father, says Dan, a Land Rover Freelander TD4 or whatever it's called, but it was automatic and father couldn't get on with it. He's well into his 70s and only does low miles each month. Oh, okay. Well, a Land Rover Freelander TD4 automatic is a very, very splendid thing. A splendid thing indeed. Jimmy Quinn says, if you buy an L322 for £3,000, you need 10 grand to run it. Agreed with that. Andrew's here. Good evening, people of Boaty's world. Good evening to you. Satnav Boaty, asks Simone, and I'm not sure what that's in relation to. Cheeseburger says, Dan, my daughter has picked up a new car today. Auto is standard, manual is a no-cost option, and has lower residuals in the finance department. Oh, there we are. And Trace says, I have indeed got one of those car phone holders. Mr. Boaty, sir, says Dan, if you had a meal on a Monday, but had a tight budget of around 20 quid for a family of 4, what would you cook? Dan, 20 quid to cook one meal for a family of 4, that's not a tight budget. That is a luxury budget, an absolute luxury budget. And you could cook anything. So I don't know what I'd cook. It would depend what they liked, but 20 quid isn't a tight budget. It surprises me when people come out with things like this, because I suspect that perhaps they don't know what a tight budget really is. Now, the last time I checked, if you were a single man with a single person with no children, and you were living on benefits, whatever it's called, universal credit, whatever it's called, then I believe at the time that I checked for the single charity and whatnot, the average budget you had for food was £7 per week, not per meal, £7 per week. So 20 quid for one meal is not a tight budget. And you could cook absolutely anything you like for 20 quid for a meal for a family of 4. Easy. Anything. 7 quid a week is £1 a day. And that is a tight budget. And that's why when I cook, I tend to try and cook things that cost less than £1 a day. Because when I originally started doing cookery stuff, it was for singles, not for here. And that was to try and show people how they could save money and eat better by learning to do some basic cookery themselves, rather than relying on processed foods or tinned foods or whatever. And if you haunt the supermarket at the close of play and you get hold of all of the reduced bargains just before the supermarket closes, it's amazing what you can cobble together for less than £1. So to me, that is a tight budget. 20 quid for a meal, not a tight budget in the least. That I would call that a very generous budget. Even now, most of my meals cost less than £1. So a meal for 4 on a tight budget. Oh God, I mean, pick anything. Anything like spag bol, chili, anything like that. Buy some reduced mince, cheap spices that you keep in the cupboard. Rice is cheap and filling. Pasta is cheap and filling. Same with potatoes. Make a stew, make a casserole. I couldn't narrow it down to one meal. I need a phone holder, says Simone, but one that sticks to the screen. Yeah. Well, I would very much recommend those, except you can't buy them anymore. I'll let you know what this one is like. The Baikel one that I've got in all of my other cars, I'm very happy with. It's and especially when paired with new phone with its image stabilization, I think it's absolutely brilliant. Somebody sent him a gift for a live unboxing and booby trap, it says Cheeseburger, somewhat unkindly. Uh, and Trey says, I can confirm that one is nothing like the phone holder that I and we have. It's not, is it? But at least it's free now. And it might be all right. You never know. I can keep it as, if it's no good as a main, I'll keep it as an emergency to use for Boaty cam when I'm with Mustard or whatever. But it might be all right. It feels. Let's just tweak it up. It actually feels really solid. So let's try it. Might be okay. At least it's free now. And I have got, as I say, this one arrived when I was out, and this is the proper one. So I've got another one now to go in another car. So this one can go in the Land Rover tomorrow. Phone man says, cheeseburger, you should know Chinese rubbish when you see it. I'm not having that cheeseburger. Chinese madam was anything but rubbish. She was lovely. And, well, she was lovely. You know what the problem is with relationships, don't you? Right? You always wear rose-tinted spectacles. Now, bear in mind, everybody I've had a relationship with, a meaningful, relatively long-term relationship, or even a short one, they've been nice people, good people, decent people. Because if they weren't, I wouldn't have been with them. Simple as that. And of course, there's always been a reason why the relationship has ended, but you forget that, don't you? And you think back, and I think back now. I'm the age that I am, living alone, and I'm thinking, well, you're a daft bastard, aren't you, son? You had a beautiful, young, Chinese, gorgeous woman who was incredibly intelligent, incredibly successful, rich, and she loved you to death. And you dumped her. What's the matter with you? And I kind of, you go through that thought process and you kind of beat yourself up a bit. Now, I can't get into any trouble with Chinese madam because after I dumped her, she decided that she didn't love me. She hated me. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. But there are others like, the Bernards and the Boos that I'm still in touch with, that I still talk to regularly. And of course you think, well, I should get back with them. They're wonderful. They're lovely people. And you forget why it was you left them. And of course, if you did get back with them, you'd leave them again for exactly the same reason. But it's just weird how you forget that there was a reason why it ended. And so you sit here when you're alone and thinking, I should never have ended that relationship. And you think, well, maybe I should get back with them or explore getting back with them. And it's for two reasons. The one is loneliness and the fear of growing old alone. And the other is that you just forget how bloody unhappy you were. Because, let's face it. You've all seen Chinese madam. You've seen her in pictures and you've seen her on video. And she was a very beautiful woman. And she was incredibly intelligent. And she was very successful. And she was very wealthy. And she did love me utterly. So things must have been pretty pants in some department for me to dump her. But the truth was that, life wasn't great. And as I've said before, I blame myself. And if I dealt with it differently from the outset, then we would probably still be together now. But there you go. You can't turn the clock back, can you? I hate Scamazon, says Simone. I love Amazon. I think they're brilliant. Same thing happened to me. Seller sent the thing via Amazon. Yeah, but that's not Amazon's fault, is it? If anything, that's an advert for Amazon. The fact that they're cheaper, that's why I started buying on Amazon, actually, because it happened to me. And I realized that eBay wasn't the cheapest place around. There's probably a thing in your mindset that it will be, and it's often not. And it was when it happened to me, I started checking out Amazon. Excuse me. And I thought, oh, brilliant, things are cheaper. Same things, cheaper. And then Amazon Prime, £8 a month, you get the stuff sent the same day or next day, fantastic. And you get to watch the Grand Tour in Clarkson's Farm. Brilliant. So I am a very happy Amazon customer, very happily. Dan says, I once advertised my motorhome on eBay, and the amount of idiots making silly offers was unreal until I actually got a serious buyer. Yeah, well, again, you can't blame the platform for that. You get that everywhere. Facebook Marketplace is arguably the worst for that. Online ordering is a pain sometimes, says Andrew. I ordered a couple of vinyl albums from the States back in July, and they're still not shipped yet. No, it wasn't a cheeseburger. And Cheeseburger goes on to say, it will be judgment on you, Boaty, if that is the best phone mount ever. Yeah, that did occur to me. But if it does turn out to be the best phone mount ever, at least I know what it is now. I've got the box. It is whatever that company is. It's an XP019. It's all in Chinese. So now I know what it is. I can find it on Amazon. If it does turn out to be amazing, I can find it on Amazon and order it from there. Or, better still, I can find it on AliExpress, where it will be even cheaper than Amazon. Because what people do is they don't buy off AliExpress. They buy off Alibaba, which is where the items are sold in bulk. And they buy them in bulk from China, get them shipped, and then they sell them on Amazon and eBay in the UK. But if you go on AliExpress, you can cut out the middleman and get the stuff as cheap as possible. So if it turns out to be brilliant, then that will be a double bonus, and I will just find them on Amazon or on AliExpress and buy those and save a few quid. Oh, Andrew's off to half an hour. Cheerio, have a good day. Video title, Boaty resolves his mounting problems. Hello, Parknest is here. Hi, everyone from Yorkshire, God's County. Hi to you. Yeah, well, I wasn't going to name him Joe, was I? Oh, Neil can lend me a set of hairpins to put on for the mop. Oh, bless you, mate. Oh, right, God. Oh. Partner says most ABS problems are either the sensors or the pickup rings. Yeah, well, I know what the ABS issue is, or I know what I've had P-scan on it. And the problem is it's picking up as having the wrong number of teeth, which either means that one of the teeth is broken, or it's got a bit of crap on it. It's being picked up as an extra tooth. But the problem was that I had a budget to fix Digbert, to completely fix him. So what that involved was buying the second-hand parts to put on him, having them fitted, blah, 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 and then doing all of the other bits and pieces as well, tires, so on and so on. Now, unfortunately, the second-hand parts that I bought from a very reputable dealer who Joe has named turned out to be knackered. Now, they were knackered on two counts. First, they were knackered because they were hacked off the car rather than properly removed. So all of the ancillaries had to be bought new and replaced. So that screwed the budget from the outset. And then it turns out that the ABS is buggered on it as well, which just makes it even worse. So having blown the budget on having to buy the ancillaries, I had no money left to pay somebody to strip it back down and sort out the ABS ring. And that's why Stigbert sat there for months on end. I scraped the money together and there should have been enough money there to completely do Stigbert, completely do him. But unfortunately, due to one company, that didn't happen, and Stigbert still sat there not fixed. And yeah. The problem is, as I understand it, the ABS sensor thing is attached to another more expensive bit. So it's not just like just buying a £3 ABS ring. And even if it was, I'd still have to pay somebody to strip it and rebuild it. So it's all been a nightmare. I'm over halfway, says Simone, to getting enough for Coney's sills being fixed for her MOT. That's good news. Oh, Claire Grogan. Claire Grogan. Oh, it's a yes from me. Ah, well done, Trace. Jenna Russell and she was Maggie Lomax on the up. That's the one. I remember now. Mr. Boaty says, Dan, would you consider doing a few videos of meals on a budget? I would. I've done them already, and I would certainly do more. 2K will get you into a usable Volvo XC90 with no major issues, will it? Cheeseburger says, £20 budget, value sausage and mash and 3 bottles of wine. Yeah. Trace says, 20 quid for a family of 4. I could do Italian chicken with pasta and 2 side veggies for about a £5, not including the gas or lecky to cook it. I used to make, there's an example of a cheap meal for you. I love using a slow cook. I haven't done it for ages, but when I had a family, I certainly used to use it a lot. Italian chicken, yeah. So some nice cheap chicken cuts on the bone, bung them in the slow cook with tomato, loads of tomato, green chili, herbs, spices, some stock, slug of wine if you've got some spare wine. Just bang it all in the slow cook with onions and peppers, and leave it to slow cook for 8 hours or something. And when you come home from work, you'll have an amazing, well, basically a Palo alla Vesuvio, something like that, that will work out at well under £1 per portion, and well under a £5 for the whole thing. Just serve it with, well, whatever you want to serve it with. You could serve it with rice or rustic potatoes or just bread. And what a fabulous thing. God, I fancy that now. I should get my slow cooker out and make that again. There's a load of stuff that I used to make for the family that I've not made for myself, and I really should. Have I still got a slow cooker? Did I bring it with me after the divorce? Yeah, I do have a slow cooker. So that is something that I should do. And especially that chicken dish. That's gorgeous. That works really well in a slow cook. Yeah, I should make that. Jimmy Quinn says, wheels with tyres are 200 to 300 quid on eBay. Yeah, that's a problem, Jimmy. I haven't got 200 to 300 quid. I always go to the local Asda on Christmas Eve, says Neil, before it closes, and get tons and tons of reduced to clear stuff from there. Got about 9 steaks for about 12 quid last year. Brilliant. Also bargains to be had in farm foods too, says Partnest. Dan says, I've been to Morrison's a few times and absolutely love the yellow sticker reduced price food. Makes it taste so much nicer. I know what you mean. Trace says, spag bowl for 4, about 7 quid. And that includes garlic bread and low-fat mince. Do it for less than that, Trace. If you get the mince when it's reduced, if you want low-fat mince, here's a tip, because it's a lot more expensive, right? Buy the fat mince, just drain it. When you've cooked it, just drain all of the fat off it. Hey, presto, you've got cheap, low-fat mince. Don't pay the extra. Garlic bread, obviously make your own. It's so simple to make your own garlic bread. You should never buy frozen garlic bread. It's horrible. Just buy a ciabatta loaf or a French stick or whatever. Buy that when it's reduced. Doesn't matter if it's slightly stale because it's going to go in the oven. If you've got a French stick baguette, cut it into portions, cut it in half. Then just make your garlic butter, just with some butter, fresh garlic, bit of parsley. Mix that in with the butter. Slather the butter along the thing. Put it together. wrap it in foil, making sure you get the foil the right way round, and stick it in the oven on a relatively low light. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Cheap as chips and way better than those awful frozen garlic things that are all bread and no garlic and hurt the roof of your mouth because they're so sharp edged. But spag bowl's super cheap and easy to make. And for God's sake, please, please, please do not buy any of the supermarket sauces. They're probably better now than they used to be, but they'll be too expensive and they'll be full of sugar and they'll be full of salt. Spag bowl is childishly simple to make. Never, never, ever buy sauce in a jar. Mustard will tell you that. 7 p.m. is the best time to get the reduced stuff from Asda, says Parknest. Cheeseburger says, Neil, I always get 2 reduced fresh turkeys on Christmas Eve and freeze them for future Sunday family events. Great idea. Neil says, Cheesy, I think it's a local thing. We're always after a damn good bargain and know how to get stuff cheap. Brilliant. Video title, Boaty has a new Chinese mount. Look, screenshot that. We all like a reduced bargain, says Cheeseburger. Dan says, I actually managed to bodge the exhaust on my car as I'm too tight to have it fixed at the garage. Look, a penny saved is a penny earned. Was she crap? Oh, good night, everyone, says Simone. Parkness says, was she crap in bed? Talking about Chinese madam. No, quite the opposite. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Far from it. I'm 30 years old, says Dan. I work and care about my family, but nowadays that isn't enough for a woman. Oh dear. Right. Oh, there's a subject. Again, I spoke about this on a daily diary. I want to find some ways that I can bring my singles network and Boaty's World somehow together. Because basically, since I started YouTube, and it's taken all of my time and concentration, and because I enjoy it more, I've kind of ignored singles, and I feel bad about that now. Singles is dead on its arse, absolutely dead on its arse. But I've got 10,000 people in the community, and I owe them, and I owe singles. Singles was very good for me. Okay, we did a lot of good for other people, but it did a lot of good for me. I had a lot of company and pleasure from singles. All right, I started it, it was my thing. But Boo came from singles. That relationship came from singles. And then Boo ran it with me. Chinese Madam came from singles, believe it or not. Yeah, that's how she came about. That's how she found me. But I feel bad for having turned my back on it. And I want to try and turn it around and make it a thriving thing again. So if anybody's got any ideas of how I can reinvigorate it and incorporate it with the Boaty's World so that it kind of, it's not an either or, I can do both. Or if any of you are single and would like to join, or it's dead on its arse, it's going to be hard work because it is deader than a dead thing. If you're actually in the singles community Facebook group, you'll see how dead it is. There's tumbleweed blowing around there. But it used to be an amazing, thriving, vibrant community. We used to have regular meetups. We had a national bowling league. Oh, God, all sorts. And the online community was amazing. And I would love to get it back to that, even if I'm not as big a part of it as I used to be, because YouTube, you guys, I would love to make it a thing. So if any of you have got any bright ideas, I would very much welcome them. Partner says, Boaty, I signed up to Amazon Prime for the same reason. Free next day delivery and TCT. Oh, sorry, TGT. Ah, right, yeah, the Grand Tour. Star Trek Picard and Clarkson's Farm were the icing on the cake for me. Well, I've never seen the Star Trek thing, but I adore Clarkson's Farm. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I think it's brilliant. And I would love to have a go on Lisa Hogan. Neil says, when I was 18, I bumped into an ex and got her number, and I couldn't remember why we broke up. We met up for a drink, and then I remembered why we broke up. All she did was moan and just be generally unpleasant. Is it me, says Park Nest, or is Boaty behind with the chat? And Trace says he always is. Bear with. And Cheeseburger says, actually, this is good for him. I've been relatively caught up tonight. At 11 o'clock, I was bang on. I was caught up with every comment. I may have fallen behind now. Neil says, when I went there for the remap, he got a young lad working with him. He got a cordless grinder to get parking sensors off. Soph was there with me when I had it done, and even she said, what the flip. Yeah. It's not great, is it, Neil? And it's, yeah. You said you were popping down next week. Well, I hope you get, This live is a consumer rant, and he has Esther Ranson's teeth, says Cheeseburger. And then said, do you remember the Not the 9 o'clock news, That's Life sketch? Do I remember it? Do I remember it? Oh my God, that was brilliant. Right, here we go. If you've never seen it, this will make no sense for you, but this is for me and Cheeseburger. On both occasions, we contacted the electricity board, and on both occasions, we were told, I'm sorry, but this really has nothing to do with us. Prince Philip exploded, and then you've got Esther Ranson in this dress that's tent pegged to the ground. And then this was the coup de grace. Cheeseburger, come with me. Cyril. I'm indebted to a gentleman from Swansea who wrote to tell me that his televisual entertainment is constantly ruined by the appearance of a camp old twat. Well, all I have to say to you is this has nothing to do with me. Not that 9 o'clock news was genius, and of course I remember that live sketch. All went well for a couple of weeks. On both occasions, we contacted the electricity board. I can't remember their name. Mr. Roberts' mother was hit by a meteorite. Oh dear. I'm lucky, says Jimmy Quinn. I cook what I want. We know you do. You eat like a king, mate. Don't buy low-fat mince, says Mustard. The fat gives it taste. I'd agree with that. Just drain the fat off. Buy the cheap stuff. Cook it in the fat, and then just drain the fat before you use the keema. Excellent, Neil. Have a word from me while you're there. Supermarket sauces are bleh, says Trace. Trace says, I prefer the 5% mince at the moment. If you brown it off properly, it's got good flavour and isn't greasy, and then you can build flavours on top of it. Having said that about the 5% mince, says Trace, I'm not scared of dietary fat, and I eat proper butter and avocado and coconut oil, etc. God, I've caught up with the comments. Bloody hell, go me. And Trace says to Dan, working and caring about family is more than enough for the right lady. Just keep enjoying life. There are many ladies out there who would love to meet you. Yeah, well, Join the I would say join the UK singles community, but don't bother. It's dead. I'm genuinely sad that. Oh, hello, Ross is here. Dinosaur Dad. Hello, Boggs. Boaty's old geezers and gals and geezers. I'm genuinely sad about singles. I really am. It used to be a very, very worthwhile thing. I didn't realise how much I was the driving force behind it. I mean, you know how prolific I am on YouTube. Well, singles are okay. I launched singles. It was my baby, my idea, but I lived in it. I was there all the time. We had daily features, we had daily competitions, dish of the day, my cooking competition. We had a load of stuff very carefully designed to work with people's mental and physical health, their diet, their emotional well-being. I had trained staff on hand to offer advice. It was an amazing thing, and I would love to get it back to the way that it used to be. But I can't do that to the detriment of YouTube, because singles took all of my time, and it gave me loads in return. It gave me company, a sense of satisfaction from helping others, relationships, friendships, all of that. Didn't actually give me any money though. And YouTube at least does chuck a bit of money in the old pot. And, YouTube's going nowhere. I mean, I'm going to do this until the day that I keel over, which will probably be during a live stream. What a way to go. But I would love to get singles back. And if I could somehow incorporate it into the Boaty's World thing, and I don't know, I haven't thought it through. I would love to get, singles would always have its own area that is for single people. The efforts I went to are ridiculous. Everybody said, when I started singles, everybody said the biggest problem were dating sites. They were all corrupt. They were all fraudulent, which they are. I found this out. They were too expensive, blah, blah, blah. So what did I do? Idiot boy here. Went to America, had a website built, had a dating website built. I still own it. It's not live anymore because, after I paid for it to remain live for about a year after launching YouTube, and then just eventually thought this is just wasted money. But I still own the license to the dating site, so I've still got all of the software. And if I wanted to resurrect a dating site or any number of dating sites, because I can replicate the software, I own the license outright. All I would have to pay for was just a domain name and hosting. So that could always come back if need be. And I would just love to get the thing somewhere back to near where it used to be, so that it was a worthwhile community facility for people. I mean, thanks to singles, I don't want to exaggerate it, but lives were saved. People were suicidal. And we did a lot of good, and people found love. We've got people who met people through singles. They've got married, moved in together, had children, all sorts. It was a brilliant, brilliant thing. And now it's nothing. It's worthless. And if I could just get it back somehow, that would mean such a lot to me. And if it became part of the wider Boaty's World community, so you've got your own singles bit with their own community group and so on. But I don't know. I don't know how I could make it work with the whole, because over the years that I ran singles, and it's like 8 or 9 years, all of the dynamic people eventually found relationships or found whatever. And I was kind of left with the least dynamic people in the world. And if you haven't got a core of dynamic people, then the whole thing runs at the pace. of the least dynamic people, which means it doesn't run at all. And without me there on a daily and hourly basis to drive things along, excuse me, it's just dead as a doornail. But anyway, anybody's got ideas, do shout out. We could do a meetup with a single, says Neil. I'd be more than happy to do a speech on how much happiness can be achieved by staying single. That's my job, Neil. That's my job. But that was part of the thing of singles. My idea was, and I will preach this until the cows come home, if you haven't got a happy single life, then you are no good as a partner. Because if you are, sorry, I'm all snotty. If you're relying on a relationship to make you happy, in other words, you're relying on somebody else to make you happy, the relationship is doomed to failure. It will never work. If you haven't got a happy, fulfilled, single life, you will never, ever have a happy relationship, because you are giving somebody else the duty of making you happy. That's not how it works. That will just bugger everything up. Nobody else has a duty to make you happy. Nobody else should have the responsibility of your happiness and emotional well-being. That is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. So, yeah, that's the one thing that I would preach. You know, people would say, "Oh, I need a relationship to make me happy. I want that." And I would say, "No, no, you don't. No, you don't." And that's the last thing that you should be doing. Work on yourself. You get happy with yourself, and you get a life that you're happy with. Because people don't realise that they're projecting the wrong thing. What are you looking for? Oh, anything with a pulse. Great way to market yourself. Do I want to be with somebody who just wants anybody with a pulse? No, I don't. Fuck off. And they wonder why they're single. And, you know, what are they giving off to a potential partner? Yeah, my life is crap. My life is crap. I'm really unhappy. I want a relationship. Who wants a relationship with somebody who is self-confessed, has got a crap life and is really unhappy? Nobody wants that. So you get your life sorted. You have a great single life. You are happy. You are fulfilled. But you would like a relationship. And what are you then offering somebody? You're offering happiness, fulfillment, a great life. And when two people offer each other that and they meld together, that is how the best relationships are made. But you try telling people that. And that is what I need. I need a dynamic set of people. Mustard, bless him. Mustard came over to singles saying, look, it's important to you that I'm your best mate. That means it's important to me. So Mustard is in there in singles as a mod, but it's, you know, it's more than just I can do or just he can do, because we're both super busy. We need a whole core of dynamism to kick it up its arse. And if that means dragging it out of just the singles, then I don't know. I haven't got a clue, but I would like to think of a way to do it because it is important to me. And on that note, my loves, it is pretty much time to go. So let me just prepare your farty outy music. Gosh, we've managed the 2 hours, despite the fact that I'm a bit sore throaty and snotty and whatnot, and I've really enjoyed it. I love this time with you, and I'm so grateful for you letting me share with you, giving me your time and attention. You're such lovely people, and it's been great catching up. And we've got the next 4 days together, and depending on how that, well, yes, anyway. So yeah, say your good nights, darlings. We are about to click over to midnight. I've got Momo for supper. Very excited about that. Oh yeah. Oh, sorry, Joe, Neil, Soph. I know that you're going through Momo withdrawal symptoms, so sorry to flaunt it at you, but yeah, it is. It's Momo not here at Windy Bum. I had a great lunch, by the way. It's been a good day. It has been a good day. And there you are. Oh yeah, if you could hit like, that would be lovely. Thank you, Trace. So, thank you for watching, and please join me tomorrow night. Same place, different time. Back to 11 o'clock tomorrow night, of course. And I will now fart you out. I probably won't dance. I don't feel up to it tonight. God, that is frightening, Jimmy. You and your 55 inches. Lovely. There we go, darlings. Thank you. Why am I sitting down? Thank you so much for being with me tonight, and have a safe and peaceful night. Take great care of yourselves. Have the best day that you can tomorrow, and I very much hope to see you tomorrow, 11 o'clock. Much love. Bye-bye.